Please welcome Josephine Monberg and James McGough. TemperPack, protecting products with packaging that protects the earth.
Hey everyone, I am Josie, and I'm super excited because I'm sitting with James, and he is the co-founder of an amazing company called TemperPack. And James, first of all, I'm so excited that we're going to talk. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me here.
So tell me, you are the co-founder of this really, really cool, innovative company. How did you get started? Where did you get the idea from?
Yeah, sure. So I'll give you a little bit of the backstory. We started the company in college. It started as a college project. Me and my partner Charles, we were studying engineering. Our third partner Brian was studying finance. And naturally, we thought it'd be cool to build a really cool beer cooler. And so that got us thinking a lot about insulation, and that one thing kind of led to another. We started learning about different market trends. One of them was cold chain logistics, which is basically the movement of perishable things like food and medicine, and how that's growing because more things are being delivered to people's houses. And so we were kind of like, okay, well, that's the trend that we can back. We believe that trend's only going to go up. People aren't going to want less things delivered to them. So that was kind of data point number one. And the second thing we saw was sustainability in general, we think is going to increase in awareness. The amount of people who want to do good for the environment and environmental stewardship is only going to become increasingly important. And then the third thing that really kind of solidified it in our minds was there's no competition really. The only thing out there was styrofoam. That was the state of the art. It still pretty much is today. And so we said, okay, market's growing, perishables are growing, more packaging is going to be used, sustainability matters, and no one seems to really have solved this yet. So let's jump in and let's create a different form of the average styrofoam cooler that people use every day. That was kind of how the idea started.
Wow, that is so cool. I love that you started just with beer coolers, you said?
Yeah, it was a terrible idea. It was way too expensive. It got bad technology, but it kind of got us to the first, mostly you just need motivation. It's like fuel. So it gave us some fuel.
Yeah. No, I can definitely understand the motivation. And you're right. I think sustainability, purpose are so critical in today's world. And I know it's something SAP we're also massively focused on. So we're excited that we're partnering with you guys. So what did you set out to solve, or I guess fix in packaging? What was missing?
Well, when you think about all the stuff you buy online, a lot of it is shelf stable, like most of the stuff you buy off Amazon. But people more and more want specialty things that are temperature sensitive, like groceries and medicine, life science, food and beverage. And these items, they need specialty packaging. These are things that you ingest. These are things that can be harmful if they're not kept in the right, temperature zones. And so what we wanted to fix was we wanted to widen up the amount of materials that could be used for this. Because right now, or back then, it was pretty much only plastics. But the problem is that styrofoam, it's made all over the world. It's super cheap. It's really good at what it does. And it's been refined over 70 years. So it's really hard to compete with. And so we wanted to make something that was just kind of like styrofoam in terms of the cost structure, the utility behind, the functionality of it, but it avoided all the bad parts. Styrofoam doesn't biodegrade. It has a lot of greenhouse gas emissions associated with the manufacturing. It's potentially carcinogenic. It's not made from renewable resources. So we wanted to fix all those parts, but keep the functionality the same. And the first thing that we came up with was we went to, apparel companies and mattress companies, carpet companies, and we figured out that there's a lot of waste cotton in the US and actually in Europe too. There's a lot of waste jute fiber from the coffee trade. And we were able to get these fibers and kind of reconstitute them into insulation blankets. And so that helped us kind of get a start. We got our Series A funding with that. We started selling these, repurposed natural fiber blankets in cardboard boxes to meal kit companies, which is just insane when you think about where all these materials started from. So that kind of gave us the start. And then obviously a few years ago, we said, okay, let's do something a lot bigger than that. This is okay, but it's really not the global replacement. And we came up with a new idea.
Yeah. Amazing. And, the cool thing about doing meetings nowadays is that we always have camera on, and we have camera on right now. And I think that gives us a good opportunity to actually maybe see one of your products. So yeah, is that a possibility?
I have one right here.
Yeah, I was.
So this, just to give you the reference, this is your average styrofoam cooler. This one's used for the shipment of, vaccines or medicine or different sorts of drug therapies. And then what we're able to do is replace that with something that looks like this.
Wow.
And it's a two-part system. So this piece actually comes out. And this is a flexible insulation liner. It's made mostly from vegetable starch and paper, 96% air by volume. Insulates for 24 to 96 hours. It's certified curbside recyclable, renewable feedstock, low emissions when you manufacture it. So it has. It took us a while, but we really think we got to the point where we have a product that has everything EPS foam or styrofoam has, without any of the harmful side effects.
Wow, amazing. And I mean, I think we all know now from whoever is listening to this and me talking to you that you really are the steward of the planet. I think it's part of your business DNA, and you're also working with customers to really further that goal and to encourage them to also be caretakers of our planet. So what are you doing to help and to kind of scale this even further?
Well, sustainability really only works if it's used. And it's really only used if it works, performance-wise. And it also has to be cheap. So what we tried to really build into this product is, first, functionality. It has to work, whether it's, Humera or hummus, whether it's food or whatever the product is. It has to be, refrigerated or frozen or ambient. It has to be at that controlled temperature for whatever that is, a 2-day journey, a 3-day journey, a 1-day journey. And that has to be backed up with data. The second thing is it has to be reasonably affordable. And so if you can do that, and then you've already kind of woven, like you mentioned, you've woven the sustainability into the DNA of the product, then you can have something that can really blossom in the marketplace. So we go to customers and we basically say, what are your user requirements? Well, what are the requirements of this payload that you're trying to ship to some end customer? How should we test this? What's the protocol? How do you need it documented? And then we'll say, what's the budget for this packaging change? And then after we can agree on the scope of those two things, our marketing team will get with their marketing team, and we'll start to weave together a really good story about, what it means to transition to this, what it means from landfill contribution, or the amount of greenhouse gases that have been avoided by switching. So it's kind of figure out performance, make sure it's within budget, and then figure out how to tell a really good story about it that gets everyone excited.
And now let's talk a little bit about technology. I think that's a huge topic right now, especially during these times that we live in, how it's actually accelerating digital transformation is such an important piece of any business. So what in your journey made you want to consider a digital transformation? Because that's really what you guys did. And also, what's it like working with SAP?
Yeah. Well, what made us want to do it? A lot of headaches.
That's a good start.
And full disclosure, there are so many smart people in the company that know way more about SAP than me. I'll give you my best.
Okay. Let's get your best.
So when you're a small company, 3 people in a garage, you don't need an ERP system. You get to some point where you do need it, and so there's kind of these different business phases. Right now, we have 2 coasts manufacturing. We're sending out, like the product I just showed, millions of those a month. We have over 100 employees, hundreds of different SKUs, and both on the inbound recipe side and the products going into the product, there's a lot of different SKUs there. On the outbound side, the finished goods, there's lots of different SKUs. And then we have all these different teams. We have engineering, we have ops, we have, shipping and receiving, we have finance. And we needed some way to get everyone on the same platform with real-time information, with accurate data. And we had sort of a homegrown ERP system, but we had just really outgrown it. So we turned to SAP because we knew that it had all the capabilities to fix those problems.
So this must have been a huge undertaking and a big journey to go through. And I imagine from what you're telling me right now that it can be a little bit hard to do this kind of innovation while you're still running a company. And you've said previously that you worked with ACUMEN Corporation. So tell me a little bit about that partnership. How did that work out?
Yeah, ACUMEN was a fantastic partner, and I would highly recommend not trying to do this, alone. It's kind of like trying to switch, build a different aircraft as you're taking off the runway, and then realizing that everyone you asked to build a new aircraft is working at different parts of the airport. So it's really just a good idea to get someone smart that knows what they're doing. ACUMEN was great. They came in. They have a really good discovery process where they help you realize, here's the capabilities. Where do you want to start? What's really important? Maybe we save this for later. Let's tackle this part. So I don't think we could have done it without them. And with this type of technology, it's so robust that you really need experts to show you the best way to use it.
And you can say in the sense that you've really transformed your business to become what we call an intelligent enterprise, which is really where your entire business is also run on insights and data and running in an intelligent way. So how's that going for you? And I guess maybe also what are some of the benefits you're seeing from running your business as an intelligent enterprise?
Yeah, well, generally I'd say that the more accurate your data is, the better your insights are, the better quality of insights. The better your insights are, the more flexible you can be, which is really important to us. If you're flexible, you can win in the marketplace. So a few examples, our lead times got cut in half, which is great. We can be more responsive with customers. Our quarterly closing, went from 15 days down to 3 days. We have real-time insights into, profitability and margin, which helps us, especially during this time when people are, demand is up and down. People are, there's lots of deal making going on right now. So knowing exactly what your margin is, what your price is, what you can do for your customer, how valuable each piece of business is, that really gives you a leg up. And we wouldn't have been able to do that before.
And I mean, you have your whole future ahead of you. You have so many things that you can do with your business. And I think you're really in the right place right now to transform and to impact the world that we're in right now. So what's next for you? And what's your data telling you? You just mentioned data before. How can you really make a difference with your company as well as to the planet?
Yeah. Well, packaging isn't what everyone thinks about every day, but it's all we think. And it's all around us if you look closely. Packaging is everywhere, and a lot of it can be improved upon. A third of all the waste generated in cities is packaging. So there's a huge amount of work and opportunity to be gained in this marketplace. And just in the U.S., there's a ton of market that we want to go after. We want to expand to overseas to Europe. And we believe in focus. We want to be the #1 provider of passive cold chain sustainable insulation in the U.S. And so I think just continuing down that road is our mission right now.
And I think you are right. Maybe it's not something we think about every day, but maybe you could give us, just as we finish off, some examples of some companies that you are working with. I'm sure there's people sitting out there that have received maybe your packages without even knowing it.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many, and it's so cool that they value sustainability. I'll just name a few: HelloFresh, Misfits, Imperfect Produce. A lot of the meal kit companies, a lot of the online grocery delivery companies that are doing wine, cheese, chocolate, flowers. We have several on the life science side, the pharmaceutical side. New England Biolabs is a new recent customer. Illumina is a really cool company. If what they're doing for humanity is just amazing. It's beyond packaging. what we're doing, I'll tell you that. But, so we have awesome customers, and what's so cool is we have this cross-sectional view into all of these companies that are trying to solve really cool problems, but they all buy packaging. So we get to hang out with all of them, and it's so fun to learn about all these different things.
Yeah, I can only imagine. And I know one of my friends, I'm based in Europe. He actually works at HelloFresh in Denmark. So maybe you will expand here one day.
Yeah.
I hope so too. Well, it was an absolute pleasure talking to you. I think you guys, you're running such a cool company, and I'm so proud that we're working with you guys. So I really look forward to continuing our partnership, and thank you for coming on the session today.
Well, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.